I love that. I love that. All right, let's try that again. Let's try that again. All right. Hey, what's going on, good kind people? You're checking out a new The RCWR show for August 9th, 2021. And right as we went on live, we had got ourselves a super chat. I'm going to make that alert come on again if I can figure out how to do that, because that was badass. How you guys been, man? You guys had a fantastic weekend? I hope you have. Lee Sanders here. Thank you for tuning in for August 9th, 2021. Weekend was fantastic. Took it easy. Nice. Bit relaxful. Did a little bit of cleaning up around the house. A little vacuuming, you know, just spurred a moment. Wasn't fussed at by the missus. Just something I felt like doing. And was playing around with my new iPad Pro that I got over the weekend. And if you're following me on social media, you know about some of the new gadgets that I got. So especially as far as the studio goes. So I was playing around with just all of that stuff over the weekend. And, you know, with the iPad Pro, I am noticing a couple of things. I am. And quick sidebar, you guys should really be enjoying the conversation that I'm giving you guys right now, because Raw tonight, especially if you clicked on the thumbnail, Raw tonight, man, whew, fighting that sleep, I tell you. We are going to have such the shortest Raw recap, it's not even funny. So you enjoy this little bit of side chatter for what it's worth. But, you know, I was noticing with the iPad Pro that I got now, because now I have a 11 point, like the screen size wise, it's like a 11 something iPad Pro. And the one thing that I'm noticing with this model, I guess that came out maybe 2020 or whatever, is that, you know how you're used to pressing the home button? Well, this one, there's no home button. So that's kind of And then whenever you're in an app or whatever, playing a game, you constantly see the white home bar. You know exactly what I'm talking about, that little white line at the bottom, no matter what app you're going into. And I tried researching that online, seeing if there was a way to get rid of it. So many people are hoping that maybe it can be removed with this. I guess now there's an iOS 15 update that's coming up or something along those lines. So we'll see what happens with that. But I mean, aside from those cosmetics, I'm only talking about cosmetics. I mean, it's business as usual compared to the other iPad that I had for a little bit over 3 years. So I'm loving it. But yeah, new setup, everything that we got, everything is just coming along. No complaints whatsoever. So, but yeah, my weekend, pretty good. I got to tell you, I got to go yell at my mailman. Tell me if this has happened to you guys. I'm very, very curious. I'm very, very curious. And shout out to Sean and them from the Discord, because they were like, dude, you got to squash this already. So you remember a couple of weeks ago, I had told you guys, and I also did the unveiling there for the Selena De La Renta autograph photos. Remember that? So I told you guys how we were having issues with the mail, right? Keep that in the back of your head. So a couple of weeks ago, I ordered a trade paperback of this new Dark Hawk series that came out. Well, it's new to me because it came out about maybe 2 years ago. So I'm just now finding out about it because I was trying to get myself ready for a new Dark Hawk series that's going to be launching later this fall under Marvel Comics. So anyway, I ordered this trade paperback. I get my tracking confirm information. The company tells you on the website how they ship it off and everything. So you already know, especially if you have a residential property, you know, you got your own home, you already know, oh, that shit's going to be delivered to your front door. No, that's not what happened this go round. The mailman took it upon themselves to ram that son of a bitch diagonally in my mailbox. It's already small as it is, but they decided that, no, rather than just take this, drop it off at the front porch, no, we're going to go on ahead and we're just going to diagonally ram that son of a bitch in the mailbox. And I just was scratching my head going, and the way I found out about this, wifey came home from work and I said, oh, hey, hon. I was like, did you remember to check the mail? She's like, yeah. I'm like, do I have any mail? Because something, I got a notification. It's like, I got mail. She goes, oh, yeah, you got mail. Yes or no? I'm like, what does that mean? She's like, you got mail. I can't get it out. I'm like, again? So I go, check this out. I'm trying. It ain't coming out. It ain't coming out. Okay? So I sadly had to take a Sharpie. I had to leave a note for the mailman, letting him know, hey, and then wifey volunteered. She's going to go to the post office tomorrow and talk to the mailman and try to get that shit resolved. I'm curious if you guys have dealt with that kind of a headache before. I'm most curious, and if you were successful in getting your shit resolved, because it's just so nerve-wracking. And like I said to the mailman, I said, man, I said, you know, the note that I left, I said, if we are able to get it out, we're damaging the property at the same time that we're getting it out. So we got two choices. Either we leave the shit in there and hope that they can pull it out, you know, successfully at their end and deliver it accordingly, you know, or we get it out, but we're damaging the property at the same. And it shouldn't come to that. Because, I mean, now, let's be real. The point that we're at right now is any bulk mail that we're going to be getting, maybe we should just get a P.O. box and get one of those envelope P.O. boxes. And for any bulk mail, anybody that's done a P.O. box before, I used to do it first go round when I was in college, because I would get so many textbooks and all that. And every time I would go to the post office, I had like a little tiny mailbox. All you could fit in there was just paper mail. That was it. You couldn't even put magazines in there. So like magazines, bulk mail, usually there'd be a little card letting you know, hey, come by the counter. You got to pick some shit up. So I would hate for it to get to that point, but I'll keep you guys posted. But I'm curious if you guys have had similar problems with mail, because I know a lot of you guys, you know, whether you're into the comic books, you're into your gadgets, stuff like that. I know a lot of you guys, you know, happen to shop online as well. So I'm curious how your shipping experience has gone. So sound off on that. Look, I want to kick off the show definitely on a wrestling tip. But I really, I don't feel like talking about Raw. I really don't. And when we do get ready to talk about it, boom, we're just going to glance over it. So, I mean, tonight, this is going to definitely be a short show. We're probably going to go about maybe up to a little over an hour at most, but we're pretty much going to be in and out. Let's kick things off right. And I want to just take this time out and give a lot of thoughts, prayers, condolences to fans all over the world, colleagues, the family of one Bobby Eaton, who passed away. You know, and it's sad because we didn't get a chance to talk about this when the news had first broke about. I believe I was on the air, so maybe it kind of transpired either while we were on the air last Wednesday, or maybe it was official pretty much right after we went off the air, and then almost going into the beginning of Thursday. I want to say my memory is kind of a little bit fuzzy now, but I don't remember a bunch of shows Wednesday night when AEW Dynamite was over and doing Bobby Eaton tributes. I don't quite remember that. I don't. If it did go down, hey, that's awesome. But I know as soon as I have found out, pretty much going into Thursday, I remember saying, okay, definitely need to talk about this. And I meant to bring it up on the Friday show, but it got overshadowed, sadly, because of all the stuff that went down with those NXT releases. And we'll talk a lot more about those NXT releases, as there's a little bit of blowback from that, a little bit of fallout from that. We'll talk about that later on in the show for sure. But man, the death of Bobby Eaton. I mean, you're an old school wrestling fan. That should definitely hit very close to home for you. It really should. And, you know, look, I definitely remember quite a bit of work of one Bobby Eaton, but not enough to the point where I can really go on the old school talk, especially on the whole territorial days and all that. I can't really go knee deep. So, but I do want to give roses where it needs to be given. And after I've said what I've needed to say about Bobby Eaton and everything, because even if this is something that's kind of like over you all's head, I mean, if you guys call yourselves wrestling fans, you guys should definitely be able to appreciate wrestling from all generations, from all eras. You should be able to appreciate wrestling from all previous decades, okay? You can't just be, oh, well, I only like this particular thing, and then just be a deer in headlights when people start talking about other stuff, right? Bobby Eaton and what he was essentially able to do with the Midnight Express. I mean, you want to talk about a fantastic time. I remember being a little kid back then. You want to talk about, man, as far as tag teams that were running around, I mean, stables that a lot of people were talking about with passion. I mean, you go back to those territorial days. You want to talk Mid-South. You want to talk Jim Crockett. You want to talk about World Championship Wrestling. You want to talk about NWA, Mid-America. I mean, wherever you want to go. I mean, we're talking about the good old days of the territory. And, you just can't help but think about the Midnight Express. You can't help but definitely think about the Von Erichs, the Freebirds, right? Four Horsemen. I mean, just what a magical time period that it was back in those days. And, Bobby Eaton passing away Wednesday at the age of 62. I mean, just so heartbreaking when you hear about it. And look, if you guys have not already, you guys know I'm a big fan of Jim Cornette. I'm also a fan of Russo. I know a lot of people are pretty about Russo. There's some things that I agree with Russo on. There's other things I don't agree with him on, but I definitely appreciate those guys. But Cornette, definitely my guilty pleasure. I tell you what, the 2+ hour tribute that he did for Bobby Eaton, if you guys did not go out of your way to listen to that and you are a fan of Cornette, or you know what, I'll say it like this, maybe you're not a fan of Cornette because of all the stuff that sometimes is pretty, you could make an argument, man, he hating on AEW. Fuck Jim Cornette. I promise, if you go out of your way and listen to that tribute that he did for Bobby Eaton, I gotta say, I've checked out his stuff off and on past couple of years now, and that for me, it sucks under the circumstances, but that for me was a pretty powerful, memorable tribute episode that he put out for Bobby Eaton. So I would definitely say, when you get the free time, check out that episode. You won't regret it. You'll definitely thank me later, because he shared a lot of insight that a lot of podcasts, a lot of the dirt sheets don't have, as far as what was going on with Bobby Eaton and everything. And look, let's really set the record straight and be consistent here. This isn't one of those, in regards to this show, this isn't one of those jumping on the bandwagons and just, no. Not for nothing, but we were on this show, my God, a couple of months ago. If you guys remember, we were on here a couple of months ago, and we gave Bobby Eaton his respect because his wife Donna had passed away. And we told you guys all about that, and I told you guys the fun story about how they had met. And it was a really cool story because it basically, not to beat the horse to death, but from what we talked about just, not that long ago, basically Donna's dad, pretty much was like, hey, I don't want you dating, no wrestler. And he pretty much spread the word out that, no wrestler is to even look at my freaking daughter, right? Like, no, it ain't happening. And then when Dad found out Donna was dating a wrestler, he was ready to kill the motherfucker. And then once Donna revealed that she was actually, dating Bobby Eaton, it was kind of like, okay, well, you know what? if you had to go with any wrestler, okay, you picked yourself a fine young man. Okay, all right, it's all good, right? So, I remember we were telling you guys that story and everything, but his wife had passed away, and you're like, oh man, that freaking sucks. What the hell? So, he and it ain't no joke. He had a bad fall at home, and I don't know what was going on, hip problem or what, but eventually he had to go to the hospital. He was there for a couple of days for observation and everything. And the way it's been reported, way it was put out there, again, this is all mostly, good good information from Cornette, what was relayed to him. So don't pay so much attention to the dirt sheets and all that. At this point, just the people that knew him closest. And anything about Corny, him and Eaton, they go way, ways back. There is a brotherhood and all of that. So this is basically first-hand account to second account, from what all was relayed to Cornette and everything. But he was in the hospital for a couple of days as a result of that slip and fall. And, after a while, it seemed like, okay, all right, you're good. It was kind of one of those deals where, man, how the hell are you even still with us? Because I guess there was some significant damage that was done to that hip or whatever went down when he had that fall. And they pretty much had decided after having him in observation for a few days, okay, now we think you're ready for rehab. We want to go on ahead. I think there's like maybe going to be some surgery that was going to be done too if it wasn't already done. And his daughter actually was making the arrangements to go and be, with him. She was going to move into his place and, help him out and everything. He needed help with his medicine regimen. And, you know how it is when you have that loved one getting up there in age. They can't quite move around like they used to mentally. They're not as sharp as they used to be and everything. So, sometimes need a little bit of help. And so all the arrangements were, forthcoming. And then all of a sudden, powers that be decided, you know what, it's time to come on home. And so he got called home. And, it's really eerie, but it's true. It's 90% true. When you have a couple that has been together for so many decades, there is a weird pattern where not too long after that one spouse dies, a few months later to maybe about a year, the other spouse follows right along. And usually there's an old saying where, when it's all said and done, that person passed because of a broken heart. They missed their significant other so much that ultimately they passed away because of a broken heart because they were left alone or whatever. Whatever the case may be. And look, let me tell you something. I know it's kind of crazy to hear about people falling in their own homes, but it happens. It freaking happens. Look, I'm in my my early 40s. I just turned 40 last year. And let me tell you something, man. A couple of years ago, about maybe 2 to 3 years ago, I had a fall in my own home. Believe it or not, I had a fall in my home. And what I was doing, I still remember it vividly. I was in the bedroom. I was talking to the missus. And I said, okay, I'm going to go on ahead and I'm going to do some laundry, probably get myself something to drink. You need anything? And she said, nah, I'm good. I'm okay. I'm like, all right, cool. I see our dog out in the hallway, stretched out. I give it a belly rub. I grab a hamper. It's light as I don't know what. There's clothes in it. It's light as I don't know what. I'm going down the stairs. I don't even make it to the 5th stair. And because our home is 3 levels. We got our basement, we got our middle level, and then we've got our top level, where our bedrooms are and all that. And with the stairs, just from the top of the stairs for the bedrooms, getting down to the middle level, you got to go down about, I would say, 15 to 18 steps. It must have been about the fifth step. And the next thing you know, with the hamper in my hands, I went tumbling down. Bullshit you not. I went tumbling down. I yelled and everything. And my wife and my dog, they both came running to see what the hell was going on. My dog's at the top of the steps looking, wondering what's going on. Tams comes and, she's like, "Oh my God, you all right?" She comes and my leg was bent in a crazy ass, weird way or whatever. And I told her, I said, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I'm all right. And when we tried to get me up, I was on one leg, literally. As soon as I tried to apply pressure, on that one leg that was all twisted and all that, I couldn't do it. And so I was walking around on crutches for probably about 3.5 weeks. I was on crutches. And then eventually I went to using a cane, and I was on a cane from there for about probably like 3 weeks. And it took some months. It took about maybe 4 months for my leg to finally feel as strong, as it did before and everything. So I say all of that to say to you guys, don't think that people falling downstairs and all that, don't think it's an old people thing, because it's not. I can't explain it. I wish I knew why it happens, but, because when you really stop and think about it, Dusty Rhodes, freaking fell downstairs, right? Who else had fell downstairs recently? There's like 2 other wrestlers that I remember besides Dusty Rhodes and besides Bobby Eaton. There's like 2, maybe even 3 other wrestlers that I can recall being on the show saying, stairs ain't no joke, and they're not. They are not. Look, my mother-in-law is getting up there in age. She's probably about maybe 3 years away from retiring. And the stairs, she's already had her knee operated on at least twice. She actually has to get a third surgery for her opposite knee because it's giving her issues and all that. And I'm telling you, when you're up there in age, your mobility is not quite what it used to be. Doing something as simple as trying to go up and down stairs, not only can that be a daunting task, but it can be a dangerous task as well. That's why a lot of times, if you really stop and think about it, when folks are really getting up there in age, that's why they're either typically, I want somebody, maybe one of my kids or a healthcare worker, a little personal aid. I want for them to, come live in with me, make sure I'm okay, help me get around, run my errands for me. Or you'll hear constantly a case about somebody that's up there in age that decides, okay, you know what, I'm done dealing with this house, mainly because of all these stairs I got to deal with, heaven forbid. And then your shower isn't quite built the way it should be built to make sure you're able to get in and out safely and all that. That's why you hear a lot of times of older folks switching up the game, moving into something where everything is just basically on one level and all that, So, but don't think it's old people's thing with people falling downstairs. I remember when that accident happened with me and I fell down the stairs. I was in my late 30s. And that wasn't the only time I had fell. I remember, and this isn't long-winded, before that fall, there was another fall that happened probably a year or 2 prior to the fall at home. And I had bought donuts for my coworkers. I just felt like doing something nice for them. So I had bought like 2 dozen, two dozen boxes of donuts. And the donuts that, weren't eaten, I decided, okay, well, I'll just take this home. I'll give it to my family. So I get off work. I go down the escalator like I normally do to go catch my train. And I'm going down these concrete steps. Man, I don't know what the hell happened. Next thing you know, wobbly, I fall down hard concrete steps. I had about 3 people. You okay? You all right? They were trying to help me up and everything. Luckily, everything was okay. So I could tell you guys till I'm blue in the face. You got to be careful, especially with those. I can tell you that, but my main point to all of this, it happens to the best. It doesn't matter what your age is. I don't know. I just can't explain it to you. Like, but when you fall down those stairs, man, ooh, you know what I'm saying? It's fucked up. It really is. So to hear that Bobby Eaton had fell downstairs, and then the complications that pretty much had came from that, I'm most curious to see, once the autopsy is put out there, what officially was the cause of death, and if anything can be tied to the complications that happened as a result of that fall. I'm most curious about that. But please, as we continue on with our Bobby Eaton tribute, I can't stress it enough. Make sure that with regards to your loved one, especially if you see that their mobility is not quite what it used to be, make sure you are on top of them and making sure, especially if there's stairs involved, make sure that they are using that guardrail for what it's worth, because it's there for a reason. Make sure they're utilizing it. If they are so stubborn they don't want to use a cane, and they're supposed to be using a cane, you make sure that they're using that cane, and they can take their dare sweet time going down their stairs, going down those steps. Like nowadays, it doesn't matter where I am, even if I'm out in public. I don't just go down the stairs anymore like I used to. If I know for a fact I'm by myself and I don't have to worry about people behind me or whatever, now when I go down the steps, and I apologize for the people that's only going to be able to hear the audio of this, but I can try to give you as much of a description as possible, but the people that's watching me can see what I'm doing with my hands. I don't just go down the steps, boom, 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 boom. I don't do that anymore. Now when I go down the steps, I go 1 foot, okay, and the second foot has joined on that same step. Boom. That's what I do now, because I'm so paranoid, especially after having that one significant fall from home. Woo, you feel me? So, but man, just to hear that, just heartbreaking, but what a phenomenal wrestler he was. Just a little bit that I remember of him, when I was growing up as a kid and everything. Kind of interesting too, because he was one of those guys, when you really stop and think about it, he was one of those guys that never, believe it or not, never did anything with the WWE. Believe it or not, never did anything with the WWE. And when you hear that, that's kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy. It's so funny. What do you want to say about Bobby Eaton? I mean, do you want to go with the Dangerous Alliance? You want to talk about that particular time period? Or how about when he got involved there with William Regal? How about that period? That was a fun period. The Blue Bloods, remember that? Kind of short-lived there. Definitely kind of short-lived there. Or if you want to talk about those brief stints, 93, 94, 95, when he was doing stuff with New Japan. The one consistent thing that you always heard about, with Bobby Eaton, and this was definitely something all the years I've been podcasting, and I'm definitely a fan of the old school wrestling, when I would research on particular eras, particular wrestlers and all that, and Bobby Eaton was definitely one of the guys I, researched on over the years. Everybody liked him. You couldn't find anybody that would say anything negative whatsoever about Bobby Eaton. Everybody always said he was just a class act of a guy, a great human being, would give you the shirt off his back, if there was some type of way, he could help you out, he would freaking do it. No questions asked. No questions asked whatsoever. But just, I mean, really stop and think about that. That's a guy you never saw in the WWE. You think about the Midnight Express in the WWE. No. It's crazy. It's crazy when you really stop and think about that. But you think about that infamous run with the Midnight Express. Midnight Express, Jim Cornette, forever. I mean, synonymous. It's fucking synonymous, man. You go back to the Smoky Mountain wrestling territory days. Blue Bloods. I'm sorry, I said something. Blue Bloods is what I was thinking earlier when he did what he did with William Regal there briefly. You know, a lot of great memorable feuds there with the Midnight Express, with the Dangerous Alliance and WCW. That for me, I remember watching that and kind of going, Bobby Eaton, and I'm not really sure, but it grew on me. It actually grew on me, and you know, it turns out it was actually a pretty damn good hit. It was actually a pretty damn good hit. Um, Godspeed, seriously, Godspeed to Bobby Eaton, and I can only imagine what friends and family, colleagues are going through right now. I think it's rather badass that the WWE are paying homage to Bobby Eaton in their own respected way. If you go on the network through Peacock, you can actually see that the Midnight Express. There's actually a nice little collage of Bobby Eaton matches when he was with the Midnight Express and everything, and it was good shit. It was damn good shit. So I would say, you know, check it out when you guys get an opportunity. Whatever pain that this man might have been going through, you know, hopefully if there is a utopia, he is with Donna, and he's chatting it up with some of the greats once again. And that pain, that suffering that he might have been going through, you know, it's no more. You know, Midnight Express. When you just think about the name itself, when you think about just the name itself, just synonymous with wrestling. It's forever linked with tag team excellence, without a shadow of doubt. Without a shadow of doubt, there is a reason why whenever you look up the Midnight Express, you're like, wait a minute, what the fuck is going on here with all of these names? All of these guys were members of the Midnight Express. I mean, where do you want to go with Stan Lane, Rip Morgan, Bombastic Bob, Joey Maggs, Hercules Hernandez. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. Ricky Nelson. The list goes on and on of the people at one point that were members of the Midnight Express. It's so freaking crazy. It's so freaking crazy. I remember when WWF tried to do their own version of the Midnight Express. I don't know if you guys remember, but it had went down in the late 90s. So, you know, kind of almost right there when it came to the Attitude Era and everything. But this one, it was pretty much Bob Holly and Bart Gunn. I don't know if you guys remember that, you know, but that was dubbed the Midnight Express. And those guys were actually managed by Jim Cornette, believe it or not. Those guys were actually managed by Jim Cornette. But, you know, it's interesting because whether, you know, you want to talk about Dennis Condrey, Randy Rose, Norvell Austin, you know, you want to talk about that particular, or, you know, because some people, you know, they enjoyed that combo. But then you got others that, nah, man, Dennis Condrey and Bobby Eaton, that's definitely one. But then, you know, you're like, well, what about the Bobby Eaton Stan Lane one? The Bobby Eaton Stan Lane one, that was pretty good. And then, of course, the infamous feud of the Midnight Express that ran in the late 80s. Everybody's remember that one when all of that shit pretty much had went down in the AWA for the AWA tag titles and all that. So then Midnight Express and the NWA, again, late 80s going into early 90s there. So lot of fun memories. But if you haven't done so, definitely go out of your way, check out what Jim Cornette had to say. It was a great tribute that he did, and it was just nice. A lot of what he was talking about during that 2-hour tribute show A lot of fond memories. Some of the stuff I completely have forgot about, and it was like, oh yeah, so it was nice going down memory lane. I know for some of our younger fans, some of our fans that don't particularly care about wrestling from the previous decades, it's kind of sad because like I'm looking in the chat right now and all people can talk about is Monday Night Raw, and not for nothing, but y'all rely on me for keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive. This Raw really wasn't banging. It really wasn't. You might have had a couple of bright spots, but you know, but I find it kind of interesting that as long as we've been talking about Bobby Eaton, I didn't see not one person in the chat say, "Yeah, man, it kind of sucks what happened to Bobby Eaton." That lets you know the disconnect. I'm sure for because I see the demographics. I know as far as the age demographic goes, pretty much we got the 18 to 54 age demographic of wrestling fans. So, and usually the people that tune into the show live, they're kind of young. But I know the older fans will definitely appreciate what I had talked about, or at least the wrestling fans that can appreciate wrestling from all modern eras will definitely appreciate some of what I had said there about Bobby Eaton. So rest in peace. One other person had passed away, not as long, not as lengthy. Rest in peace to Marky Post. If you grew up as a kid in the 80s, then you definitely know her from TV shows such as The Fall Guy, also from Night Court. She passed away at the age of 60. She passed away at the age of 60, lost a battle to cancer. Lost the battle to cancer. 60 years old, Now look, I'm not saying that, 60 is, oh my God, it's so young. Because I know when you hear 60, you're like, oh, that's old. It's like, it's actually not really, because what we know now about how to better take care of our bodies, good nutrition, good dieting, exercising, and all that, we're able to expand our lives as a result. You see what Tom Brady, you see what LeBron James is able to do for as long as they have been involved in their respective sports and everything, right? But Marky Post, who played Christine Sullivan on Night Court in the 80s, 84 to 92, one of my favorite characters on Night Court. One of my favorite. Of course, I was a big fan of John Larroquette as Dan Fielding, and that was like my go-to guy. I actually dug Harry as well. Harry was okay as well, but my favorite three from that show was definitely Harry, Marky, and John. Those were my favorites. And then Bull kind of grew on me in the later seasons, and I think that was mainly because they tried to give him more material to work with and all that, but 60 years old, that that's just pretty damn young, and then when you look at the last batch of photos of her within recent years, right on up to her death, she was still pretty recognizable, was able to maintain her figure for the most part. She was stunningly gorgeous back in the day, but you see her at age 60, there's certain women you look at and you go, wow, for somebody that's, now a grandma, man, still look pretty damn cute. Still look pretty damn banging. And Christine Sullivan's, Marky Post. Marky Post is Christine Sullivan. She definitely was one of those actresses. Linda Carter, the TV Wonder Woman. I mean, you look at her now. Anybody that saw Wonder Woman 1984, you didn't keep up on how she looks nowadays. You saw her, you're going, damn, sister still looks banging, still recognizable. My girl Elvira, makeup or no makeup, you can still spot her, and she still looks freaking gorgeous. The girl from I Dream of Jeannie, she still looks banging, right? So 60, that's pretty damn young. And what's really sad about this is it wasn't even 3 months ago that what's his name, Charles Robinson, Mac Robinson on Night Court, that he passed away because of cancer. I'll say this, and we'll get back into wrestling. I really can't help but wonder what the future holds for the Night Court reboot show. I don't know if you guys had heard about it. It's something that I had talked about off and on previous shows, but a lot more on our Wrestling with the Topic series with the misses, which we did put a free for all episode available for you guys to check out on demand and on the downloads. But I'm most curious if the plans are still in motion with this Night Court reboot show. I mean, you ask me personally, not to be long winded about it, it ain't Night Court for me personally. It ain't Night Court if you don't have Harry Anderson. It just isn't. You might have been able to pull some shit off with Marky Post. You know, okay, sure. You don't really want to put in Charles Robinson in there. Like, okay, you might be able to get a. Okay, let's see what you can do. But for me, it's not a Night Court series if you don't have Marky Post, Harry Anderson. I mean, Dan Felding, that was a pretty good character, but enough to be a lead, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. So hopefully, I think it was NBC. I think it's supposed to be launching on NBC. I'm not really sure. But if they haven't thought about it already, now after the passing of Marky Post, they should definitely strongly reconsider whether or not they want to continue on with this reboot or not. So we'll see what happens. So rest in peace to both of those who had great impact on the entertainment industry in their own respected way. Raw tonight, again. What do we say about Raw? Really wasn't that much good things to come out of this Raw. I found myself fighting sleep, and what was hilarious about this, I actually took a nap before Raw came on. I purposely set an alarm. I got myself a power nap. I did about 90 minutes of a nap so I could be refreshed, ready to go when Raw was on. And I found myself just dragging during this whole 3-hour show. The bright spots, Sheamus taking on Ricochet. I thought that was a fantastic match. And I remember saying to folks, I said, you know what? This could be the sleeper match of the night. This could be the sleeper hit match of the night. Let's see what happens with this one, right? And you guys have heard me on this show repeatedly in the previous months. Hey, man, Sheamus has been really bringing it. As far as my Dark Horse MVP of the month, hey, I got to go with Sheamus. You all know that. As of late, Sheamus has been a bit ice cold. But I tell you what Sheamus had did with Ricochet was pretty damn on point tonight. A great performance from both men. What's probably going to trump what they did tonight, however, is the fact that, well, not for nothing, but we've seen some incarnation, some variation of Ricochet and Sheamus within recent weeks. And then just when we think it's going somewhere, stops, and it's pretty much abandoned. And then, we come back to this a couple of weeks later, and it's pretty much rinse, repeat. It doesn't really go anywhere. Especially if you're a fan of Ricochet and you're maybe hoping, maybe he'll get the best of Sheamus and he'll ultimately become the new U.S. champion. Or nah. But I can put that to the side and just say, look, as far as what went down tonight, and them boys delivered. Them boys deliver. You know, it sucks too, because as great of a match as it was to see Damian Priest come out next. And look, I'm a big fan of Damian Priest. I am. Remember, I was the same guy that said a couple of weeks ago, hey, give me Damian Priest and Sheamus for that U.S. title. Let me see Priest chase after Sheamus for the title. That should be a pretty damn good brawl and physical of a match. And really the truest test of Damian Priest to date. You know, everybody wants to go with WrestleMania. WrestleMania was more, sadly, sad but true, WrestleMania was more about Bad Bunny. Damian Priest really did not get his true time to shine. So to see what's going on with Damian Priest at this juncture, man, you can't help but say, especially if you're a Damian Priest fan, all right, now ain't no Bad Bunny. We've seen what this man can do down in NXT. if anybody can help take him to that next level and everything. And it's been nice hearing the crowd reactions for Priest the past couple of weeks. They're coming around. They like him. They like him. So that's good. When you got the crowd in your favor, as I've always said on this show for years, go out there, get some type of reaction, be it good, be it bad. Get some type of reaction. The worst thing you can get out there is no reaction at all, and everything is just falling on deaf ears. You hear a pin drop. So I can't wait to see what they're going to be able to do with that. Elias doing his little vignette where he pretty much takes his guitar, throws it into the fire. Elias is dead, is pretty much his whole message. You know, I'm a little bit puzzled by that. I'm a little bit curious to see what exactly is going to be going on here with Elias. Does this mean that we're going to be seeing Elias come back, essentially a reborn character? What, is he going to get a new haircut? He's going to lose the beard, and what, he's going to ditch the whole showman? You know, what's going on here? And, you know, honestly, we should have known that something like this was going to happen, because you go over to SmackDown. What's the name of the guy on SmackDown that is playing the electric guitar right now? And I always thought that it would be kind of badass if you had somehow Elias and this guy cross paths. I always thought it would be pretty badass. Rick Boggs. I always thought it would be badass if you could somehow have those two guys. But look, by all accounts, when you really stop and think about the current dynamics right now in WWE, it's no different than an observation I brought up several weeks ago. And you all may remember this. I know I definitely, said it not only on social media, I said it to some folks in Discord as well. And the question I brought up was, do you honestly think that if Karrion Kross were to ever come up to the main roster, particularly the Raw brand, do you think Nikki Cross will be able to continue being called Nikki Cross? Or is somebody, Nikki Cross, gonna have to change her name? And that had people a little bit divided, because they felt that, both should be able to keep their respected names. But then you had others that felt that's a really good question. And yeah, even though one is a K and the other is a C, just to avoid the confusion, yeah, maybe it would just be better. Look, we're only going to have one Cross. So when I look at the current climate of WWE right now, and essentially we got two guys running around with the guitar, think about that for a second, especially if you're that casual wrestling fan, or maybe you gingerly check out wrestling and you go, hey, I was watching the WWE product and they had some guy that was playing a guitar. Oh, yeah? Oh, you're talking about Elias. Well, I didn't quite catch his name. Was it Rick Boggs? Yeah, again, I didn't catch his name. Well, how'd he look? Well, he's this white guy. Yeah. And you think to yourself, check. And he's got this long, dark brown hair. Check. That's describing both guys. And he's got this facial hair. Check. And he plays a guitar. Like, check. Right, so you got two guys running around with the guitars and all that going on right now. And it's kind of like, okay, who are we talking about here? It's almost like left Twix, right Twix. It's kind of like that. Simple analogy. It's the best analogy I can think of right now. So, it's kind of sad, honestly, because if you were to ask me straight up, I feel that the powers that be in WWE failed Elias tremendously. The gimmick that he was pushing was fantastic. The guy was naturally getting over on his own. This guy, you heard me on previous shows over the years, this man was a solid throwback to wrestlers of yesteryear. Okay? I mean, for me, he reminded me so much of Macho Man Randy Savage, meets a little bit of Al Perez, meets a little bit of the Barbarian, meets a little bit of, you could just all night. I mean, you just go with the combinations. You get the point. But he had he was definitely a nice, cool throwback, if you will. Definitely a nice, cool throwback. Charismatic as hell. Personality wise, promo wise, damn fucking strong. And I just never understood, for the love of me, when he reached the pinnacle, it felt, of going over with the WWE fans, why the rocket just wasn't put on him and, okay, let's see what this guy can do. Now, I'm not saying that in terms of pull the trigger and make him a world champion, but man, you just felt that there was that period in time there. Man, this guy could really, really be going places. Really. He's got a great look, great build, connects well with the people of all ages, knows how to work a crowd, knows how to work a room. What more could you want? And it just seems like, for whatever respected reasons, he just kept getting put on the back burner and everything. Right down to the point. Look, the feud there with Gunner, as I call him, because that's where I really know him from, his years in Impact. Jason Riker, Will Riker, as I like to dub him as. You just look at that, and that was pretty much a bit of a bust. If you're a Riker/Gunner fan, you were happy to see that, all right, well, at least he's getting some camera time. And, hey, remember what had went down with the Forgotten Sons and all that controversial crap that went down with political views being spoken, and that kind of essentially derailed them for a good little bit. And now we see there can only be one, and right now that one guy is Jason Riker. But even at that, it's been a hot, steamy pile of nothingness. That feud that was going on there with Elias, you had a little bit of potential, but it was still pretty flat. Just because you put a flat soda in the fridge for a couple of hours, it doesn't mean that it's going to taste as good as when you first open that can of soda and it's just fizzing and foaming and all that. No, that doesn't mean no. Okay. So, I'm curious to see what's going to happen here with Elias. I'm most curious what's in the works, because it definitely feels as though we are most likely going to be getting an overhaul. I don't think he's going to be coming back and he's going to play a ukulele instead, or he's going to play a little magical harp. I don't see any of that going on. I really feel as though he is going to do a complete 180. That's what I feel is going to happen with him. I hope that whatever is going to happen with the next version of his character, I hope that he could continue to be a heel. I think that is his strongest suit, getting under the skin of the fans. I would love to see it. Me personally, this is just me personally, teach its own. But if we're going to go with the whole Elias is dead and all of that, what I personally would like to see happen, I would suggest to WWE, stop where you are. You just did the vignette tonight talking about Elias is dead. That's it. Just let fans sink in on that. If you want to maybe recap that one more time, you want to show that vignette one more time on your next batch of Raw shows, I'm okay with that. Supposedly we got the draft that's going to be coming up in October and everything. You can mention the Elias thing one more time, but then after that, I wouldn't mention anything else. I would not mention anything else. Don't do any more vignettes. I wouldn't do it. I would not do it. Instead, just have him pop up whenever this new character is going to surface. Just have this new character pop up under the new name. And if that has fans thinking, this guy looks a little bit familiar, I can't quite put my finger on it, but I've seen this guy somewhere, let the fans start getting their brain clicking, going, is that? And let them do the online research. And that way you can really have fans be in a position where they can truly judge whatever this new incarnation character, this new version he's doing, whatever he's coming up with. That way they can really, truly take in this new character at face value and not be so quick to compare it to the Elias character. Because, you know, that's my best wishful thinking and my best advice to WWE. I hope that it goes in that direction. But stranger and quirkier things have happened where we keep seeing vignettes. You know, if you were to tell me, Lee, they've already got a bunch of vignettes ready to go on Elias. The very next week, they're going to show him cutting off his hair. And then the week after that, they're going to show him cutting off his beard. Next week, they're going to show him ditching his scarf and his jeans. They're going to show him burning his albums of his own music that he made from over the years. They're going to show him burning that. And you're like, yeah, I wouldn't even do all of that. He's dead. Okay, we got it. Bring him back as the new character when it comes to the draft. What do you say about the stupid shit that was going on there with Lily, by the way? I did not care for that. That was like total corn for me. Total fucking corn. Didn't care for that little crap whatsoever. What was it? Bliss taking on Dewdrop. Hey, I love Dewdrop. I got no problem with Dewdrop. No problem with her whatsoever. Nice little sexy thick ass. I like Dewdrop. She's cool. By the way, somebody was saying today is Alexa Bliss's birthday, or at least it was, as we're now going into Tuesday, August 10th. So happy belated birthday to Alexa Bliss. So that's cool. That's cool. So what is she now? That makes her what? I'm trying to see how old she is now. If I were to guess, what does that make her? 33, 34? No, 29. Wow, so she's still a youngin'. That's cool. Yeah, you know, but besides being the birthday girl, did not particularly care for the stuff there. Wow, that crowd was white hot too, by the way. That crowd chanting, "We want Wyatt." What did I say to you guys weeks back? I tried to prepare you guys for this. I told you guys weeks back, way before Wyatt even got released, I said to you guys, you know, I'm really concerned about the Alexa Bliss character as WWE gets ready to go back live on tour. Because now we're really going to be able to hear from the fans how they're liking or disliking this Alexa Bliss Wyatt-inspired character. We're really now going to be able to, you know, feel the pulse of the fans, get a really good sense on where they are. And what you've been hearing off and on the past couple of weeks, the fans have been, you know, it is what it is, right? I did so many Thunderdomes where now it turns out it was actually Ted DiBiase that was in my ear as the producer. Every time, you know, all right, people, here's Alexa Bliss. Make sure you cheer Alexa Bliss. Cheer Alexa Bliss. And I'm kind of like, I don't care about, you know, but just to stay face, you know, it's like, hey, you know. But, like, yeah, you could program that. You could do all that shit you want in the Thunderdome. Now that we're putting the product out in front of paying customers, now you all are going to really freaking have it. And one thing that I was very concerned about too was just, all right, man, we got Bliss that's pretty much, look, I'm not saying it was all her. I'm not saying that at all. Obviously, the people that's in charge of the writing and creative booking and all that, they're the ones that pretty much, okay, we're just going to take the Bray Wyatt little demonic little thing, rip, and we're just going to put it on Bliss. I told you guys, you know, there may be some backlash here, especially given the fact that the fans are not seeing Wyatt here. There could be some backlash. And, you know, not for nothing, it's been a bit rocky for Bliss so far, at least in my eyes, as far as hearing the crowd reactions and all of that goes. It's been a bit rocky for her, but now that you got Wyatt out of the picture and you've got the fans chanting what they're chanting, look, man, if I'm WWE, obviously what happened with Wyatt just out of nowhere, you could almost say. And we don't know exactly what's going on with Wyatt. Although one thing is official. Official. Wyatt is not done. Now, sadly, I don't have the image loaded up, but let me see if I might actually be able to pull this off for you guys real quick here. Yeah, I actually need somebody's help. Can somebody do me a favor? Can somebody pull up that tweet that Bray Wyatt had put out? I might be able to do it myself at my end, but I want to show the image that he had posted because I thought it was a pretty badass image. Bear with me a second. Let me see if I can actually pull it up here. No, that's not it. Yeah, he put something out. Yep, there it is. He put out an image earlier Monday, like right before, actually, no, during Raw. And the message basically said, you can't kill it. That's the message that he had posted. Now, what I want to try to do is see if I can actually share with you guys the image for those of you that haven't seen it. Now, Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful, shout out to him. He did indicate that they did try to reach out to sources connected to Bray Wyatt and confirm that his absence following WrestleMania had nothing to do with what are being called falsely reported mental health issues, and that also Bray Wyatt is 100% healthy and able to wrestle. So everybody that was, remember that we went through that period there where a lot of people were just trying to do the whole fill out process. That's all it was. People were just honestly trying to guess what was going on. Oh, well, let's just throw this shit on the wall and let's just see if this sticks. And, you know, even if it doesn't stick, it's a great click. Because after all, that's what a lot of these websites and podcasts, the bad ones, that's what they're about. They're about the bait and switch. That's what it's all about. Straight up. Now, you know, maybe if we went the route of the bait and switch, maybe we would have a lot more likes, a lot more, you know, we're too damn honest. We're too damn neutral. A lot of people like sensationalism when it comes to their news and getting information and all of that other shit. Maybe we're just, you know, maybe we need to go this route, right? You know, sometimes we get, oh man, you should have more views. Oh man, you should have more subscribers. Oh man, well, maybe we should go the salacious route, yeah? Like some of these people do. I mean, I could play with the best of them too. Food for thought. You know I'm not going to do that. But you get the point that I'm making, right? Everybody was thinking, oh, well, you know, ever since Brody Lee had passed and that really had affected him tremendously. It hurt him. Yeah, that death. Oh, he really, yeah, that's why he doesn't want to come back. Remember that? That's what was the reports that was floating around about Bray Wyatt. You had that fucking report that was going. And then, of course, just the information that was being put out there, you know, online. Well, you know, Bray Wyatt has that history there of mental issues and mental health problems and all that, you know. Let's just go with that. Let's go with that. That's a good fucking, yeah, that'll work. Remember that? I'm trying to load up the image for you guys right now. So if you guys are seeing something on your screen, now you know what's going on here. Bear with me a second. So I want to try to see if I can, load this up for you guys. Yeah, remember that? So, you know, all these guys, all they were doing was just guessing, and they're wrong. That's why I always tell you guys, I say, you know what? We could do all this speculation. We can do all this guessing and all of that all we want. It's great discussion. It's great debate, no doubt about that. But at the end of the day, we don't know. So as a result of not knowing, let's just keep our mouths shut, not spread false information, and instead, let's just go on ahead. Actually, you know what? So hang on a second. So I can essentially take this image and let me come back over here. All right, I'm going to show you guys this image I'm talking about here. Boom. And we got it. All right, so we got it loading up. There you guys go. All right, so let me blow this up for you guys here. So you see he put out this tweet saying you can't kill it. And then you've got this image. Let me see if I can. Is there any way I can blow this image up? Can I move it? Can I no, that's not gonna work. So hang on. Let's I think I know what I need to do. Let's remove that and let's just go with a actual image. That's how I'm gonna have to do it. I'm gonna go with an actual image. Okay. And then now I'll be able to show it to you guys. Okay. So let's go with, should be here. Oh, it's actually under that name. There we go. Under that name. There you guys go. All right. So let's minimize this a bit. And sorry for the chat, but I'll bring the chat back in a hot second. So I want you guys to see this image here. And I think, yeah, that's pretty much all the image. So let me do this. There you go. So that's pretty much the entire image. That's what Bray Wyatt had put out with the caption, "You can't kill it." I mean, so when you look at that design, it's obviously different from what we last saw of him and everything. I mean, look, is it even remotely possible that maybe powers that be in WWE reached back out to Bray and said, "Hey, man, sorry about what had went down, but we know we probably gave you a 90-day non-compete, but we actually want you to come on back. We kind of fucked that up. We want you to come on back. What do you say?" It very well could happen. It very well could happen, but just for now, just marinate on the fact that Bray Wyatt, by this simple tweet, he ain't done. Not by a long shot. So all that bullshit that was being put out there by motherfuckers that were saying, "Oh, well, ever since Brody," yeah, no shit, that's not news. No shit that most likely this brother, this man that he looked at as a brother, traveled up and down the road with, went to his house. Their families have probably had barbecues together, spent holidays together. They've told some of the most intimate, personal things to one another that they wouldn't share with anybody else. Yeah, no shit, the death probably had rocked him. The death of Brody Lee probably had rocked him. No shit, but these motherfuckers wanted to try to make news out of it as far as Bray Wyatt's absence. Then they want to try to go the mental health route. Yeah? They want to try to go the mental health route. Yeah, then they want to fucking go with the route, "Oh, well, he's dealing with some type of injury." It just goes to show you and really expose the motherfuckers that's just out here just spreading fucking propaganda for clicks. For clicks. That's all it's about. Fucking clicks. And now you see the shit that's going on with Adam Cole. How about that hilarious shit that's going on? Motherfuckers, same thing. Same clickbaiting and all of that at its finest. Let me remove this so we can bring the chat back. Same kind of clickbaiting at its finest. Motherfuckers were saying, "Oh, Adam Cole, he's not re-signing with WWE. He's going right to AEW. Yeah. Our sources indicated that he has signed a contract with AEW." And you got Tony Khan saying clear as day, "Hey, look, no, we aren't doing anything with Adam Cole. We have not reached out to him whatsoever. We have not offered him a contract. We've not spoken to him at all. Yeah, we aren't doing anything with him. And of course, you got motherfuckers that are, yeah, whatever, Tony. Yeah, we got you. Like, no. And now you're hearing officially that apparently Adam Cole had a meeting, a priority meeting, as the way it was being described. And these all the reputable people that we've come to respect and appreciate, all confirming the same thing, that, you know, he had a priority one meeting with Vince McMahon. And apparently the conversation had went extremely well for Adam Cole, you know, right down to the point that there is hopes to see this man come up on the main roster and everything. 2 cents from a distance. 2 cents from a distance on this report. Would not surprise me whatsoever if this meeting with Vince McMahon went highly well, and Vince he's looking at Adam Cole and he sees a lot of solid potential in him. Look, when I look at Adam Cole, I am constantly reminded of Shawn Michaels. And I mean that in the most respectful way humanly possible. I do. I'm not talking about from a in-ring standpoint, because there's just no comparison. But certain mannerisms, personality trait-wise, definitely the size, all of that shit, within reason size, he reminds me a lot of Shawn Michaels. So I would not be surprised if Vince McMahon, but I got to be consistent here. I'm very concerned about guys like Adam Cole, because if the reports are true that Vince sees this guy definitely being on the main roster, to that I say, doing what? Doing what exactly? Because we're now moving into this direction of big men. You don't need a fucking website, dirt sheet reporter to tell you that. You got eyeballs of your own. You can see what's been happening over the course of really the past year. You can see what's been going on. So again, Adam Cole, main roster, doing what? Because with his height and his size, I'm a little concerned. I would feel more at ease if Adam Cole had put on about 15 pounds of bulk. I wouldn't even be tripping. But for now, I'm kind of tripping, wondering what exactly are you going to be having Adam Cole do on the main roster, you know, and are you trying to do it in a way where definitely he will be most successful? You know, I mean, that's the other point. You know, only time will tell about that. But remember that, yeah, all the reports that was floating around that Adam Cole was going to be jumping ship. He was going to be going to AEW. Tony Khan, clear as day. No, we didn't give him a contract. No, nothing's going on with Adam Cole. No, we aren't doing anything with him. Nope. Tony Khan said flat out, incorrect. Have not made an offer to Adam Cole. But motherfuckers were running with that shit like it was the gospel. Nah, y'all lying. No, really, he is going to AEW. Please. I'm trying to think about some of the other stuff that had went down tonight on Raw. I will say this much. The spot there with Bobby Lashley, MVP, their little talking segment, putting over the Lashley-Goldberg match, actually was pretty good. I love how Bobby Lashley is just standing there like a freaking beast that will just pounce at any freaking moment and just bite your damn head off. I mean, bring to you a world of hurt. And MVP is just pretty much just selling the fuck. I'm loving it. I mean, they complement each other so extremely well. So extremely well. Fucking digging those guys. Fucking digging those guys. Love them tremendously. Anything else on Raw I want to talk about tonight? I'm just looking at the. Oh yeah, Randy Orton coming back. Good spot. Matt Riddle trying to. I want my baby back, right? He wants his Orton back. I got my wish seeing Orton RKO the shit out of Riddle, but it wasn't in a way where it was the definitive act of betrayal, where it wasn't, see, I knew he was going to turn on Riddle. You just knew it was coming. No, this was more like a brotherly love bonding that we saw going on here tonight. I love how it pretty much opens up with Matt Riddle trying to rekindle the RK Bro relationship. Orton wants nothing to do with it. That's a thing of the past. But then Omos, AJ come out poking fun at it. It pretty much sets up a match between Randy Orton, AJ Styles, which was pretty good later on in the night and everything. That was pretty good. And, and then you still got, matter of fact, now that I'm thinking about it, that was actually our main event, AJ Styles and Orton. How about that? How about that for a main event? I think that was pretty good. Yeah, a little short. It was about maybe 10 minutes at most, but Orton picked up the win thanks to Matt Riddle helping out on the outside there. Orton didn't like the fact that Riddle had helped him out. He was pretty pissed, but Riddle's like, come on, man, we can still do this. We got this. So I love that whole embracing that they did, and then Orton just pretty much RKOs the hell out of Riddle, but he's smiling as he has already executed it. And I just love how he just pretty much rubs the head of Riddle, and Riddle is just smiling. He's just I love that. You guys have no idea how much I love that, because it's almost like when you're looking at Riddle, it's almost like Riddle knows, yeah, Randy likes me. He really likes me. Oh yeah, we're still the team. We're still the team. So he just has this big ass grin on. I loved it. I fucking loved it. That was just hilarious shit, because most people that get a fucking RKO from Orton, they're just, I'm going to get that motherfucker. I'm going to get you, sucker. But that's not how it went tonight. So good stuff. So, I mean, look, I think I said it maybe 2 weeks ago, the way things were kind of looking with Omos, AJ gaining up there on Riddle. I told you guys, cue up Randy Orton, Riddle, RK Bro, AJ, Omos, SummerSlam, Raw tag titles. Take those tag titles off of them. Do you maybe go in that direction, or let RK Bro chase after the Raw tag team champions for another month or two before becoming the new tag champions? So WWE is in an interesting position right there, because Omos and AJ just continue to pick up steam. But you got this RKO commodity over here that is also continuing to pick up steam. And are they about, where RKO has an advantage right now on AJ and Omos? I personally feel Omos and AJ do not have a name for their respected stable. There's no merch for them whatsoever. Think about that. Yeah, sure, there's merch for AJ Styles, but there's no merch for Omos. Yeah, there's plenty of merch for Orton and Matt Riddle, and there's merch for them as a tag team, as RK Bro. I mean, you can, out of the gate, that just sells itself. So do you feel where I'm coming from, go with the latter? It's going to be interesting to see what happens when we go into SummerSlam. That much for sure. Nikki Cross defeating Rhea Ripley via DQ. I got nothing to say. I'm not. All right, let me say this. Where I'm a little bit concerned right now with this Nikki Cross angle is if we continue to build up Nikki Ash as someone who can only get in a dub as, you know, through shenanigans, then the validity of her championship reign is going to continue to be in question. I mean, this is a great gimmick that she has going on and everything, but with what's been happening within recent weeks, you know, with this character, there is a big old asterisk by this character. A big old asterisk. And you're just looking at this and you're going, can we really see Nikki Ash as a Raw Women's Champion past SummerSlam at this point? I mean, the way it feels it's been designed here, it really feels as though this is a setup. That ultimately Nikki Ash is just a transitional champion. That's how it really, really feels. I don't know if you guys are really picking up the vibe there, but it just... Now, look, I thought what happened last week where Nikki had got a win over Charlotte, and if I remember it right, there was no Rhea Ripley. And I remember bringing up, wow, kind of interesting that there was no Rhea Ripley out there, but okay, hey, at least you had Nikki, like, definitively beat Charlotte. But when you keep doing this type of shit, when you keep adding in little shenanigans from a Charlotte Flair at ringside, when you add all of that stuff, right? Charlotte knocks out Nikki off the ropes for the DQ, basically, right? So when you do shit like that, you feel me? But if I have to choose between that and Flipper, remember, that's the new name we're dubbing him. I got to give him his sound effects, too. Flipper. Reginald. Flipper. They had this guy just flipping all over the place at a photo shoot tonight. And the way he was just flipping around and everything, dodging everybody, you know what it reminded me of? I got to tell you guys straight up. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me so much of an episode of Power Rangers. Remember how they used to fight the putties? And they used to be doing all their flips, trying to dodge them and everything and all that other shit. And then remember in the later seasons when you punch the putty in the middle of the chest, they would just freaking explode and they were still doing all their crazy little flips and shit. Yeah. No Bray Wyatt, but we got Flipper. I'm not one to call on people's jobs, man. I'm just saying, if you're going to tell me we need to be done with no more midgets, no more small guys, no more guys in their 30s and up, I'm just saying, why you giving me Flipper? That's all I'm saying. Let's see, what else here? T-Bar versus Ali. I took a leak on that one. Let's see. That was good. Damian Priest, John Morrison. Hallelujah, Miz can walk. Damian Priest finally had exposed the Miz there. That was kind of hilarious. So, a little childish. A little childish, you could say, how that had played out there. But, you know, it is what it is. I don't think there's anything else as far as Raw. I kind of glanced over Alexa Bliss, Piper Niven. That's because of the bullshit going on there with the Cabbage Patch Doll. Let's see. Karrion Kross. I knew I was forgetting something. Karrion Kross taking on a returning Jeff Hardy. As it was reported, you know, we talked about it here. Jeff Hardy was out for a couple of weeks there as he had got diagnosed with COVID. And it was so hilarious because there was somebody that was leaving a comment. They actually did. They left a comment on that show that we did via YouTube. They were like, man, this fucking bullshit, man. How you gonna come on here and spread this bullshit ass propaganda, man? Giving me a damn heart attack and scaring the hell out of me, man. I can't stand shit like this. You should be ashamed of yourself. And I'm like, Okay. So anyway, like, I'm sorry, not sorry, but the fucking musical promoter event thingamajigga that Jeff Hardy was supposed to go appear at and do his performance and do his meet and greets and all that, they broke the news on their social media pages, letting the fans know what was going on, letting the people know what they were told directly from Jeff Hardy / Jeff Hardy's camp. Jeff Hardy has COVID, and as a result, he's got to be in quarantine for 2 weeks. You know, if a company were to lie about something like that, man, I mean, that's a big ass lawsuit that's waiting to hit their ass. Furthermore, if the story was bullshit, I don't know about you guys, we never heard a peep out of Jeff Hardy. We never heard a peep out of WWE. And you guys know by now how WWE, when a motherfucker gets COVID, they like to keep that shit quiet and under the rugs. Remember that? Remember that? They like to keep that shit. Anybody forget there what went down with Renee Young? When she tried to take the initiative, tried to be transparent about having COVID and the backlash that she had received from WWE HR there. It's all good. It's all good. So Jeff Hardy comes back from quarantine. Lost to Karrion Kross. So if you want to look at this and you want to say what was once wrong was now set right, okay, you can definitely look at it from that standpoint. I don't know if that's going to please the people that initially the first impression and when they saw Karrion Kross lose to Jeff Hardy screaming bullshit. And look, it left me kind of wondering what the hell. It really, really did. But, you know, I've heard a few people's ideas on Scarlett, and honestly, I just have one cool idea of Scarlett, quite honestly. And it's so simple. I've heard really good analogies as far as, shout out to my boy Mish, shout out to Mish from Wrestling Soup. I'm going to be seeing him next week. We're going to be doing the AWESOMECON panel for you guys next week in DC. Go to awesomecon.com for more info. But he had a really cool idea, and I've kind of seen similar ideas where it's like, why not treat Scarlett like a human urn? You know, Undertaker had Paul Heyman, and his power was in the urn controlled by Paul Heyman. Why not kind of do Scarlett that way? I got something kind of similar, but why not do it this way? When I think about Karrion Kross and Scarlett, I always think about natural born killers. Always. Always. So why not do some type of a version of that, but also at the same time, why not let it be a case where Karrion Kross's true power, true direction, true purpose all comes from Scarlett? Like, this is somebody that he essentially worships, will do any and everything for, move heaven and earth. Why not kind of do it in a way where if you are going to ultimately have Karrion Kross stumble along the way, he's going to pick up some key losses and it looks like he's in a funker. Why not have it be a situation where when he finally does cross paths with Scarlett, Scarlett can say something as simple as, you thought you could do this on your own. You thought you could walk away from me. You thought you could walk away from this. You thought you could be as powerful by yourself than without me. Now you've gone out there. Now you've been in the wilderness. Now you see that ultimately, in regards to your survival, what I have been talking about this whole time. You ready to do it my way? Yet again? Why not do something as similar as that and pretty much go from there. Just a thought. Just a thought. But I sincerely do miss Scarlett. I do. I sincerely miss Scarlett. Drew McIntyre, Baron Corbin. That's all I got to say. I know people listen to this on the downloads. They're going to be like, what the fuck? What was up with that silence? That was the whole purpose. Just dragging it out. That was the whole purpose. Oh, God. Let's get into, I see some of the comments you guys had coming in there. It was just kind of a matter of figuring out the time and getting into you all's comments. You know, sometimes I be kind of slow about it here. By the way, you guys been enjoying yourselves so far. If you haven't done so already and you're up to this point in the show, make sure you hit that like button when you do that. It really helps put more eyeballs on the product. It means a lot. If you haven't subscribed, do subscribe as well. I see we've been picking up some new subscribers over the past couple of days. Appreciate that. As always. Oh, can somebody do me a favor? If anybody's hands are available, do me a solid. Let me know what the dark matches were for Raw, if there were any, and the dark matches for Raw, if there were any. And I'll try to buy you guys some time, as I do have results, or rather the card for this week's Dark Elevation. Lucha Brothers took on the Seidels. Renee Michelle faced Red Velvet. I'm actually going to watch Dark Elevation. I actually want to watch Renee Michelle. I got such the biggest crush on Renee Michelle. Sorry, Drake. You know, hope you don't mind, brother. Hope you don't mind. It's just a crush. It's just a little crush. A little thing. Anyway, Brian Cage versus RSP. Jurassic Express versus Cyrus and Carly Bravo. Jade Cargill, I've missed her for some weeks now on Dynamite. She'll be facing Amber Nova. Sean Dean takes on Peter Avalon. And Sheeta faces Tisha Price. That's your card for Dark Elevation. I'm actually going to check that out. And I will definitely comment more on it on Wednesday's show. For you guys. Also, I see the rating came in for Impact Wrestling from last week. Viewership slipped a little bit, but it looks like Thursday's show did about a 0.04 rating in the 18 to 49 demo and did about 103,000 viewers. Demo rating doubled from last week's 0.002 demo rating and hit the show's upper range in the typical numbers. So not too shabby, while the audience was the lowest since the July 1st episode, which had hit a record low 69,000 viewers. And apparently this was chalked up due to a programming error. So take that for what it's worth. You guys that were big fans of the A&E biography series there for WWE, know that coming up in September, it's going to be on DVD. It's going to be released from Lionsgate. And basically, there's going to be like two separate DVDs. You'll have the first, the first disc is basically going to have, the Steve Austin, the Booker T, the Randy Savage, Roddy Piper. And the second DVD is going to have the Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Mick Foley, Warrior. Not known right now if there's going to be bonus content such as exclusive interviews, maybe some matches, deleted scenes or whatever. But A&E, they did release deleted scenes on their YouTube channel. So you can't help but wonder if there's going to be deleted scenes that's going to be part of that DVD set. But you guys that's curious, mark on your calendars September 21st. That's when it's going to be released, September 21st. I will gladly, I've pretty much seen all of those. So what I will focus more on, I will actually get the DVDs, but I will focus on any exclusive content and basically give you guys the final verdict on, if this is something that you should go out of your way and check out. But I mean, the way I kind of feel right now, still very similar to what I had said to you guys some weeks back when I was asked by you all, hey, what do you think about, which is great biographies, but make sure you're also taking it upon yourself to do your own respected research and make sure that you're getting the entire story, because sometimes WWE has a way of changing the narrative of changing the story on some things ultimately to fit their narrative is a really nice way to put it, basically. Let's see here. We'll see what you guys are kind of saying in the chat here. Because, I mean, I'm glad we kind of went an extra couple of minutes here, but we're pretty much about to wrap it up here. But let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. Shout out to Anthony. What's up, Lee? Is it true WWE is going back to the Thunderdome and getting rid of NXT? You know, I not at this point. I'm just not seeing that happening. Speaking of which, look, there's a little bit of blowback there from the NXT releases. You don't need a rocket scientist to tell you that morale is at an all-time low. You don't need motherfuckers to tell you that. You know, that's a pretty much given. I mean, should people really be shocked at what all's been happening there with the NXT releases, and more particularly the fact that the reports are saying that NXT is due for a major overhaul? I mean, look, now we're learning a lot more about who ultimately was behind these NXT releases, as ultimately it was all come down to Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon was the one that gave the green light for these releases. Of course, he had a little bit of help from John Laurinaitis, Bruce Pritchard, you know, by all accounts, it would appear as though Triple H, Shawn Michaels, there's no input from them whatsoever. You know, they weren't even part of this. This pretty much, all things considered, it was ultimately a Vince McMahon call. So, you know, whether or not you want to say out of touch, out of time, out of mind, hey, I feel you. Sincerely, I feel you. But it is what it is. But you don't need dirt sheets and writers tell you about the morale, websites and all that. You don't need them, no shit. And then look, not for nothing, but one could make an argument. How many times were we here week in and week out? We predicted the ratings for AEW and NXT when they both were on Wednesday nights. And when it came to the next show, we went over those respected numbers and we saw what we had saw. How many times did we go over that? And man, AEW was just kicking their ass. And then what happens ultimately? NXT, you know, WWE, they decide, well, let's take NXT, put it on its own respected night, not competing with AEW, so we can pretty much have our time in the sun by ourselves. And you see how that's been working out for them. Their regular norm when they were dealing with AEW on Wednesday nights, they stayed being in the 700s. Then the minute that they pretty much were done with that, they started dipping into the 6s. Then now they're in the 5s. Now, granted, you can make the whole argument, oh, well, you know, sci-fi and, you know, nah. When you keep getting those type of numbers, eventually there is going to be, okay, you know what? We got to try something new. We got to try something new. We got this big mega deal that we got here with NBC and all of that, NBC Universal. Nah, we gotta shake this up. We got to go for better. Seeing all the venom that was coming out there over the weekend, you know, folks that want to try to throw Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa under the bus and all that, and pretty much try to make them be the scapegoat for why all these problems are happening in NXT. Grow the fuck up. Yeah, we're going to make those two guys solely fucking responsible for everything that has come about with NXT, that they are the ones that are at fault for. And the funny part about all of this is there's a majority of motherfuckers that don't even give a damn about NXT, that have never even watched NXT. Please. These guys, when it's all said and done, were given direction. Okay, this is your storyline. This is what's going on. And the fans reacted positively to it. They reacted positively to it. And as a result of that, there was more and more and more that came about. No. We're not going to, no. What you all need to be focused on is, okay, everything considered, everything that's been happening with NXT, what really has been going on with the NXT product. As far as the stars that are there, who has essentially been built up properly, you know, who are you able to look at and say, yes, that's a bona fide star. Those, you know, WWE, this past year, and it's really understandable because of the pandemic. They had lost a lot of people, like before the pandemic, and then definitely going into the pandemic, and they had to scrounge around, and they had to pull from that NXT pool. They had to pull from that NXT pool, and as I've always said to you guys, next man up, next woman up. But they did so much plucking this go round that, other than a few gems, you got a bunch of scraps. Don't mean that in a disrespectful way whatsoever, but, when you just keep going to the well and you're not putting back in, right? I look at it as a bank account. You keep withdrawing, but if you're not putting anything back in, eventually you're going to be running low on fumes there, or in this case, running low on funds. Keep doing all that withdrawing. So you combine that, some of the slapstick comedy shit that's been going on as of late. What do you think was going to happen? Yeah, ultimately, when it's all said and done, man, you tell me that NXT is getting an overhaul. The talk is they want to try to go back to their old days of NXT, maybe tap into those old days of FCW and all that. Okay. Let's see what happens. You just can't help but feel for Triple H, though. All this shit that's going on, all things considered, you just can't help but feel for him. But I would say to you guys, don't sweat over what's going on. Don't, because you look at all the people that they sign yearly to come be part of the Performance Center and all that. I mean, seriously. Eventually, they got to trim the fat. Remember the analogy I used on the Friday show when we were talking about all these releases? Like, go back and listen to that Friday show. It's as simple as that. Let's see here. Going through the rest of the comments. Oh yeah, we had a super chat from earlier. I wonder if there's a way if I can make that super chat repeat. I'm trying to see if I can somehow pull up alerts. There's no way. Well, let me try this. Nah. There's no way I can bring the super chat back. Shout out to Gino for the super chat. There was no comment. He just wanted to show some love. So shout out to him. Let's see what else. Joshua said heard the. Let me read this out and then I'll try to see if I can clean it up. I think he was typing a little too fast here. Heard the Fiend promo on Raw. If I were to try to clean that up, I think Josh was trying to say heard the fans chant the Fiend on Raw. Maybe that's what he was trying to say. I don't really know. I have to rely on you guys for that one. I mean, I didn't miss anything else, right? There was nothing else that had came about with Bray Wyatt tonight, right? It was just the image, right? That's all it was. It was just the image. Let's see what else we got. Again, just reading some of the comments. Only good thing about Raw was Elias promo and Baron Corbin. Bless your heart for liking Baron Corbin. Seriously, you're basically the few, the proud, the only. Some of us are basically like, yeah, we're good on that shit. We're good. Oh God, it's hilarious. Yeah, let me see here. That is pretty much it. I'm all caught up on the comments. So quick programming note. Tuesday night, you guys get a new RCWR show. All we're going to be talking about is NWA Power Fallout. So make sure you tune in for that. That should be fantastic. I'm glad we went a little bit longer. So, I mean, when it's all said and done, it's under 2 hours. I'm cool with that. I can still get to bed at a decent hour. I am happy with that. And then Wednesday, August 11th, we'll be back as well. We'll do a new RCWR show for you guys. We'll cover NXT Fallout. We'll definitely cover AEW Dynamite Fallout. I'll go over the dark episodes as well. We'll definitely talk some more Impact. We'll talk some MLW. You know how we like to do it on that show. So we'll definitely go a little bit all over the place on that one. And really nothing else to get into on this show. Maybe we'll open up the phone lines too on the Wednesday show. Maybe we'll open up the phone lines as well. As I get ready to make my exit, if you haven't done so already, please, once again, if you made up to this point, make sure you hit that like button. When you do that, puts more eyeballs on the product. Feel free to subscribe as well. And if you haven't done so, check out the stuff that we have put out, available on demand and on downloads over the weekend for you guys. There's a free-for-all edition of Wrestling with the Topics you guys can check out, hosted by me and the missus. We also put out the Friday show, was also the audio version of that. That was also released. What else was released? I'm trying to think what else was released. There's like something. Oh yeah, there was a bonus episode of NWA Power that NWA had released on Friday. I don't think we made the audio version of that available. I think it's just available on YouTube, Twitch, and all of those platforms. So make sure you check all of that out. Yeah, we did like about 3 shows within the past like 72 hours, pretty much going into now. So go represent and check all that out when you guys get a chance. But feel free to leave a comment if you're going to be checking this out. When you do, you happen to do so on demand, because I want to know what you guys, how y'all are holding up with the recent releases of NXT, especially if you had listened to the Friday show, if you agree with a lot of the points that I had made up. I'm most curious where your headspace is at right now. So definitely sound off about that. And in the meantime, that is going to do it. Get at me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Use the keywords, the RCWR show. Nice hearing from new folks, especially those that, had discovered the show, became a fan. I like reading comments like that. Love that big time. Wishing all y'all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. Be well. And I will catch you guys this Tuesday and Wednesday. Take care, my friends. Peace.